Hi, Christine Crow here, and today's video I want to talk about something which has come to my attention quite a few times, and I believe that if we are looking to become CQC registered providers, as well as the registered manager, for example, we've got to be really in the right mindset to be able to take on the role as a registered manager or a provider. Now, what does that really truly mean to you? Being a registered provider and being a registered manager, it is not about just having the title. It carries a lot more than just the title. It carries big responsibility on you, on your shoulders. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because a provider wants to be a registered manager as well as the registered provider, but yet we've provided we've done the application for them, for example, and I think there could be some problems here because people aren't really taking it as seriously as what they should be doing, because it's okay to have people do your policies and procedures for you, for example, but you've really got to understand what those policies and those procedures are. Now, being the responsible manager as well as the registered provider, you got to read your stuff. You cannot just expect people to do your policies and you don't read through it and you don't understand it and you miss things out when we ask you for certain things and you don't provide us with those things, and you are then forgetting where the last conversation is, for example, and you haven't actually read the email. Now, CQC, for example, they will send you an email, and if something is missing, then you have to provide that information, for example. Now, if you haven't read that clearly, then you're going to delay your own registration with CQC. Why am I saying this today? Because I've had where a client has actually thought that they had provided everything and they hadn't. So we were saying, we need this information from you, or you can put in this information and then email it back to CQC. But this clearly did not happen. The client expected us to submit their CQC application, whereby CQC had emailed the client to ask them to send back the information through the email that was sent to them, not to go onto CQC portal and to upload this information, for example. Now, I want to say this because it worries me that everybody's jumping for becoming CQC registered, but they're not willing to literally read properly what is actually in the letter that has been sent from CQC. And then if you are getting someone to do it, that's fine. There's not a problem with that. But if there's something missing that person needs, then you need to provide them with that, or the conversation is that you can complete that section and then send it off. That is it. That's where the buck lies, is with you, the provider, with the registered manager. Because if anything was to happen, anything, and we're dealing with vulnerable people, and you turn around and say, well, it wasn't me, I didn't complete this. What does that say about you? You haven't read through your policies and procedures. You didn't understand a certain thing, and now it's come to bite you back, and you turn around and say, I didn't know, I didn't read it properly. You have to read everything. You got to read everything and be ready to be interviewed. You've got to allow yourself, seriously, you need to allow yourself at least 4-6 weeks to read through the documentation. It's like you're studying for an exam. That's why CQC put a date of usually when they will call you for inspection 3 months down the line, because really at the end of the day, yeah, they're busy as well. And sometimes it can be more than 3 months, for example, but you're meant to read through your documents so that you fully understand your roles and your responsibilities of why you are the registered manager, why you are the registered provider, for example. If you're the registered provider, then you need to give the person, the registered manager, the support that they need and understand what that entails and understand the rules and regulations that are surrounding it. Now, if you're the registered manager, then you've got to understand what the roles are of the registered manager, as well as all of the day-to-day rules and regulations. But if a simple thing like reading through emails, that is a red flag for you. So you've got to be ready for CQC, because let me tell you something, that is the easy part. Passing CQC is the easy part. Running an agency and you've got thousands of hours and you're dealing with people's lives here, it's not easy. The easy part is passing your CQC regulations. And if you can't even be bothered to read through your policies and procedures and your emails and your documents that you're meant to provide as a provider or the registered manager, then are you really ready to be in charge of a care agency? Are you really ready to be the registered manager of a home care agency, for example, or the provider, the responsible individual? Because when they ask you for certain documents, those documents, the dates have to be correct, like your ICO certificate has to be correct in date, for example. Your DBS, that has to be in date, it has to be correct, it has to be a CQC countersigned DBS unless you are a healthcare professional at that time of applying. Not that you're going to be a healthcare professional in 3 months' time, that when that submission has been put through, do you have your healthcare professional, like your nurse certificate, for example, your PIN number, all of these things, is that ready on that day of submission? Because if not, then your DBS is going to be sent back because they want it to be a CQC countersigned DBS. If you don't have your health professional qualification. I'm doing this video because it worries me that people aren't reading through emails properly and they're not taking the responsibility for their own business by reading through the documents, by reading through the email that has been sent to them. I just worry that people aren't listening or taking things in properly and responding back, because everybody seems to be in such a big rush, to get things finalized that they're not actually finalizing themselves. They're not checking off what they need to do as a provider and as a registered manager. You're responsible. You've got to provide the right things. If you miss something, then it will throw off everything. If you miss if your DBS is not the right DBS, for example, if you haven't provided an item that we need to complete that application, but yet we've sent it to you and said, look, fill out this form and then you can email to CQC, for example. How many notifications do we have to keep sending you? We've done it twice. Is that not enough? Do we have to keep doing it over and over and over again just for one thing? And then when we send it to you and then we say, all you need to do is this one thing, is that so hard for you to do that thing and then email it to CQC or send it back to us so that we can complete it for you and then send it back to you as whole? But don't go blaming people when you haven't done what you're meant to do. We've got to take some responsibility here. We're all adults here. And especially if you're going for a position as a registered manager and a registered provider, then you've got to take that responsibility to go through things, because it will be you sat in front of CQC, maybe online, but you'll be the one sat there and they'll be asking you the questions, because they know that people are doing policies and procedures for other people, but they want you to read through things so that you understand. They're getting tired. They are getting tired because they know that people aren't taking things seriously enough, and they feel like they're wasting their time, because when they book in that time with you to be interviewed as the registered manager, as the registered provider, then you better have your stuff together. You better know what is in your documents that you've sent to them, because if you don't, and then they ask you a question about it, and then you turn around and you say, well, I didn't do the policies, it was done by someone else. Do you think they're going to be happy? No, they're not. They're going to be annoyed that you've taken away someone else's time that they could have spent with someone else who was ready and is having to wait months and months because you're booked in, but yet you're not ready. How do you think that they're going to feel? How do you think CQC inspector is going to feel about you not being ready for interview? They're frustrated. They're frustrated because you see, back in the day, we did used to do our own policies. We did. We got on and we did it ourselves. It was very, very rare that other people would do your policies. As a registered manager, the registered manager used to do all the policies, and they knew their stuff, and they passed with flying colors. These days, a lot of people are having their policies done. And I'm not trying to do myself out of work here, but a lot of people are having their policies done, but at the same time, they're not reading through their policies. Just grab my tea here. They're not reading through their policies, and they're sending it off, and then they're being questioned, and because they've not taken time to read through every single policy and every single item that they've sent off to CQC, And then they're there getting their interview and they haven't even looked properly at what they've received. They haven't read through it as if they own it and taken responsibility for it. CQC, our Care Quality Commission, inspectors, they are aware that people are having policies done for them because they know and they can see. They see similar ones. But what frustrates them the most is when you don't take the time to look at it before it gets sent off to them. You have to be happy that everything is how you want it to be. Read through it. Don't be in a rush to get it sent to them. Please read through it and think about the inspector that's going to be inspecting you, how they want to be treated. They want you to have read through what you've sent through to them. That way they're going to give you the respect. That way they're going to pass you because they know that you've read your policies. If you have not read your policies and you just sent it off to CQC, this is a warning to you. Read it now before you get your inspection, because they will literally pull it apart and they're going to be holding you accountable on that day. Not the person that's done the policies for you. It's you. It's down to you. Just like I used to write my own policies, still do actually. That's what we did back in the day. We didn't have companies writing our policies for us. That came about, I can't even remember when that came about, probably when I started. But, as a coach that is. But why providers, why care managers, why are you not reading through your policies and procedures? And this is the reason why I'm doing this video today, because something, was brought to my attention today. And I thought, I'm tired of this. You got to take that responsibility. You got to look at what we send to you. And when you miss something or provide us with the wrong information, don't blame it on other people. They only go by what you give them. That's all they can do. They can't say, do you swear that you've provided me with this right information? We go by what you give us. And secondly, if there's an item missing and we tell you about it, then please provide us with the information, or we send it to you because we've asked you twice. We send it to you and say, look, it's ready, we just need this. Either you can just put that in or we can do it for you. And then please send it off to CQC, because CQC, when they've emailed you, they want you to provide them with the information and send it back to that email that they've emailed you from, to your business email, not the person who's doing the policies for you. So I'm just dropping this quick video in today, just to all care providers, registered managers that are going through CQC right now. Please read through it. Give yourself at least 6 to 8 weeks. Because when you submit your application, you're meant to be ready to really start. But that's why they give you that date. What day do you say you want to start from? Because boy, you better be ready on that day. Because they could turn around and say, right, okay, we're going to do, your interview is going to be in a month's time. and then you haven't even looked at anything because it was done for you. I know this thing where people are offering this service to you, it's helping you, etc. But I don't know whether it really is helping you to be strong, to learn about these things. If you learn from it, then that is great and wonderful. But if you're not even looking at it and waiting to the day before you send it off, or you've sent it off, and then you're, just having a little look, then you get tired, then you leave it, and then suddenly you get an appointment date, and then suddenly you're rushing around trying to understand what has been sent to you, even though you get the mock interview and you're being given the information, and you got to read through it, because the person or the company that is taking their time to spend with you to show you something and teach it to you, then you got to look at it over and over and over again. I always say, put some headphones on, read it out loud, everything, and then you listen to it over and over. Take it to bed with you, put the headphones on, and listen to it night after night after night, till it becomes a part of you. Then you will get to grips with your regulations. Then you will understand what your role is, so that when you're being asked questions, you'll be in a stronger position, and they will see that you're ready and that you can run a healthcare business in home care. Because, it's not easy. That's the easy part. Application is the easy part, but running the business, that's the next level. But they want you to get that part right first. And then you learn. As each package comes on, you learn about that. So I hope that this video is like a warning sign for you to wake up and look at your CQC application. Pick it up now, start looking at it. Don't push it to one side. You read it like it's a book, and you make sure that you're ready for your interview, because don't waste their time. Because when they come to interview you, they want you to be ready. Because it's not fair on them. It's not fair on CQC inspectors that you're not ready, because they could have interviewed someone else who is ready and that will pass. They're getting a lot of applications, and it's causing them delays, because they're getting a lot of applications, because there's a lot of applications that are being done by companies. So it's more than what would usually happen many years ago. I don't think it's about the number of agencies coming forward. Yes, it is, because they're having their policies done for them, so that's increased their workflow for CQC. But it also about, back in the day, it would be those that did their own policies would be the ones that would come forward, and then they would pass. So we kind of maybe we shot ourselves in the foot. But if you really want this, you gotta really, really read through things and highlight it, read through it, read it out to yourself, record it, and then put it on in your headphones. Get your headphones, just get your headphones, for example, and just put them in, and then you listen to it at night time, for example. Depends what's comfortable in your ears anyway, should I say, because these things fall out of my ears every 5 minutes because my ears are so tiny. But get a headset. Instead of sitting watching TV or whatever, get a headset, record yourself, and then listen to yourself, and you should pass. And get a notepad and paper and write things down so you're getting used to it. Get post-it notes, put them around in your office, for example, so that you're getting regulations right. You know, I just want you to be ready. I just wanted to tell you about this because a lot of people are not ready. Because if you can't even read properly an email that was sent to you on numerous occasions, then there's a problem. You're perhaps too busy, you got a lot going on in your head, then you got to clear and make some space for this, because this is serious. Registering for CQC is very, very serious, and it's not quick and fast. They give you time to be able to read through and understand it, and that's what you've got to get to grips with. So I just wanted to drop this quick video, even though it's not quick, it's over 20 minutes, but I just want you to really pass. And I don't want you to be wasting the inspector's time, because they could have gone to someone else who is ready and has read through and is ready to receive, for example. So have a wonderful evening, care providers. Let's do this. You can do it, but you've got to meet us halfway. All right, so have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you. Bye.